The member for Richmond.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. And look, I rise today to point out the risk that the opposition leader and the Liberals and Nationals pose to my electorate on the New South Wales North Coast and indeed right throughout the nation. The fact is, if they are elected, people will be worse off. And Australians know that. People in my region know that and tell me that every day. Households will be approximately $7,200 worse off. That's the impact of their policies. Now, we know this. How do we know it, people might ask? We know it because they've opposed every single cost of living measure we have put forward, every single one of those. Now, people are doing it tough, and that's why we have those cost of living measures in place, but they're completely opposed to it. Well, we do know what they want to do. They want to spend $10 billion worth of taxpayers' money for bosses to have long lunches. They're fine with that, but not helping out Australians who are struggling. We do know there will be massive amounts of cuts, in fact $350 billion in cuts. And where will they be? They just won't tell us. Is it cuts to Medicare, cuts to age pensions, cuts to bulk billing across the board? People just don't know, and they're quite terrified about the risk that they do in fact pose. But let's have a look at more detail at some of those cost of living measures that the Liberals and Nationals oppose. The tax cuts for every taxpayer. Now, in my area, that's 71,000 people who've benefited from that. And the average tax cut, around $1,500, they opposed it. The $300 energy bill relief, they opposed it, and people needed to have that. Cheaper medicines, cheaper childcare, Liberals and Nationals opposed it. Fee-free TAFE, which has been a game changer for 5,000 people in my region, they opposed it. And they also opposed really important pay rises for aged care workers and childcare workers. We know they've opposed all those, and that's why we know people will be worse off under the Liberals and Nationals. That is, in fact, a fact. Let's have a look at the opposition leader's record when he was the health minister. It's a pretty shambolic record. He actually went ahead and froze Medicare rebates. Of course, he really wanted to have that GP tax in place as well. He cut $50 billion from public hospitals. And in fact, the opposition leader said there were too many free Medicare services. That's what the Liberals and Nationals think of Medicare. And after a decade of cuts and neglect, we've worked really, really hard to repair Medicare. Now, we know that all these cuts will be there, but we won't hear about any of them till after the election. They won't tell us, but we know there's $350 billion. There's a really clear choice at the next election, and that's a choice between building Australia's future with the Albanese Labor government or taking Australia backwards with the Liberals and Nationals. And the fact is, it's only a vote for Labor that can stop the opposition leader becoming Prime Minister, can stop the Liberals and Nationals getting into power, because they will take us backwards and people will be worse off.